G'day mates, in today's video I want to kick off talking about big teams like Benjy and Savage who struggled to qualify today, why they struggled, and does that mean FNCS is over for them? Are Benjy and Savage completely out of FNCS now? We have to talk about the map changes like the tilted blimp going down the day of FNCS qualifier, which had a lot to do with Benjy and Savage struggling today. I want to talk about this new burst rifle that just got leaked that looks like we're going back to 3-shot bursts. We have our next Icon series skin being announced. It's going to release today as of this video going live, and I want to look at the drop maps for today's FNCS because it's going to be another spicy qualifier. So let's just jump into it. Today was one of the last days of the qualifier for the FNCS. We had some big upsets. We had big teams like Benjy and Savage not even making it out of round 2, and a lot of people asking me what's going on with that, and Aussie, does this mean they're out of FNCS? So first up, what happened? Well, unfortunately for Benjy and Fishy and pretty much everyone in the community, they woke up this morning to find out that the tilted blimp had crashed. Benjy and Savage did not even know until they were going into their first game. Here is Benjy's reaction.
Wait, where's the blimp?
Wait, what? No.
Oh, it's in the water. Oh no.
We're so bad. Wait, how does anybody know this?
Let's go outside. Yeah, what? They're still doing the blimp in the sea though, but...
Wait, what? Wait, why? Nobody in even my chat knew that.
Yeah, nobody's ever said this.
Yeah, so not an ideal way to start your FNCS, and now their drop spot of tilted is, in my opinion, one of the worst on the map. It's definitely not one of the best. The only real advantage it has is now it's still central on the map, but you've had a whole bunch of the buildings be destroyed. You've had the blimp get destroyed, so there goes a lot of your rotation around the area. It still does have IO cars nearby, but they're going to be gone in 3 days anyway, so it just really isn't a strong drop spot. It still has as many people ratting in the buildings. It's still just annoying to fight at, and the loot isn't really worth it. So that wasn't a great start, but I don't want to make too many excuses for Benjy and Savage. If you watch the games, you know why they didn't qualify. They just didn't really care. They were just W keying people. They didn't really seem like they wanted to play that badly, and this seems to be a pretty similar theme for a lot of the top tier pros right now. They're just not enjoying the game. But hey, as well, Benjy and Savage have already made semifinals, and I wanted to make that very clear because people seem to be quite confused, understandably, because the format is quite confusing. So we've had our first qualifiers, and we have our last one taking place today. So anyone who makes top 5 in round 4 today will go straight through to grand finals. But where does that leave everyone else? So semifinals, which is taking place next weekend, which is the heats, it's going to start with the top 50 most consistent teams on the series point leaderboard who didn't get top 5. So how you know who's in the top 50 is you go to the Epic Games website, you go to the leaderboard, and then you pick the region. Right now, you can see Benjy and Savage are very comfortably inside top 20. They're in 19th overall because they played really consistently in the last 2 qualifiers. So there will be some people who will bump into this top 50 because they're playing round 4s today, but there's no way enough people will play who haven't already been on the leaderboard to knock Benjy and Savage out. So they're definitely playing in not only semifinals, they're playing in all 3 heats. So all they have to do is win 1 of 17 games or come top 6 in one of the 3 sessions, and they will make it through to grand finals. And that's what's really good for a lot of these teams who are going to be contested in the semifinals as well, because they don't need to do insanely well overall. As long as they have one good game where they can pull out the victory royale, they'll go into grand finals. The tilted towers drop does scare me because it's even weaker now. It really can only have 1 duo, maybe 2, but those 2 duos are probably going to leave shambles. So if they're going to stick to tilted, which I don't know if they are, their semifinals and potentially grand finals is going to be very interesting. But I wanted to clear up the fact that they are not out of FNCF. If there's any team that you're rooting for that you're worried they might be out, check the series point leaderboard. There's a good chance if they've been playing well, if they've been playing consistently, they will be in heats. I will do a proper full video in the next few days or week once the heats list actually goes out, and I'll talk about who qualified, who didn't, where they're dropping in heats, and which heat look like, how it's looking. Okay, so if you don't want to have to do the effort yourself, just wait until my next video. But I thought I'd make sure the Benjy and Savage fans know they are still in FNCS. Don't panic. I did want to take a quick look at who qualified and who didn't for EU and NA and where they're dropping. We had Wox and Roban come out in first on 179 points. Very, very big pop-off performance from them. If you look at the actual drop spot for EU is what you've come to expect, and I'm sorry it's not more HD. This hasn't been fully published just yet, but as of right now, you still have the absolute ridiculous covert fight that we know and love. We have Aquavino getting dropped on by Thomas and Tripper, or Thomas and Tripper being dropped on by Aquavino, and then we have Pink and Anas on the the top side, they're not actually getting it to themselves. They're being dropped on by Chris, I believe it is. So we'll see if Pinkin and Ask can pull out the top 5 like I 100% know they will if they're unconned. But if they are going to be contested, we'll see how that one plays out for them. But hey, that will be a fun fight to watch either way. We get to see Scram and Hellfire with uncontested Greasy for one of the first times, which I think is going to be a very, very good team for a top 5. I would love to see Jerky and iDrop finally get uncontested Logjam, because I know they'll get a top 5. Unfortunately, they are getting contested by Mirza and Lazen, but maybe either team could still have a good performance from there. Hen and Queasy still uncontested Northside Sleepy to see if they can pull off the top 5. They are currently, I believe, the most consistent team on the leaderboard who hasn't got a top 5 yet. We have Deceptus and Rezon on the south side. Janice and Vortex are getting uncontested Coney, because unfortunately for my OCE fans, Suns and Vortex are out of FNCS. They weren't able to make a round 4 after a huge start to the season with the Cash Cups. They just couldn't pull it together in FNCS, sadly. We have Rifler and Mariah actually contesting Fly's team at the Kami split, now that Kami and Seti are already through and not playing as well. We have Leshy and Swilliam going up against Floki and Clement down at Chonks, which we've seen plenty of times. We get to see how a team goes with uncontested Synapse, which is very rare. Frey's team's going to be dropping there as well. As you can see, Tilted does now only have 2 teams at it. Like I said, it just doesn't have the loot for much else anymore. We have Nebs and Kinsdale going up against, I believe it's Heine's team, but again, I don't think they'll be fighting. They'll probably just split it. And then we have 3 teams contesting a Bugle. Milad versus Fast versus Michael. Those are the main POIs. There's going to be some other ones to watch out for as well, but we are missing some of the big names in EU, but you got to remember 10 of the best teams have already qualified and gone through. Now moving on to NAE, so we had Creo and Vert come out in first place on 173. Pretty crazy from a performance from a player who quit last season. I'm obviously talking about Creo, so very much still up and kicking, doing very, very well there. 173 points too. That's a big, big margin. We have some big teams up there. We have Nix and Nick FN, the French-Canadian team. Quanti's up there. Acorn and Edgy, despite their drop of Tilted, also being destroyed. So again, just goes to show that some teams are adapting better to the change that Tilted than what Benjy and Savage were. We have Polo in 5th, and then Day and Clicks in 6th. Now, unfortunately, Day and Clicks' last few games didn't really go their way. There were some accusations of stream sniping, but they still came in 6th despite their last 3 games being a 27th, 27th, and 25th. Clicks and Day were looking absolutely disgusting today. Day looks like he's finally dialing in. Clicks, if you've been watching it at all, you know is one of the most improved players, I think, this season. His IGL skills are very much up there, and right now, if Clicks and Day can both dial in, play well together, they're almost definitely going to get a top 5. They're looking very, very hot coming into this one. Looking at the drop spot as well, as far as the major POIs and spots I want to look at. As always, EU and NA, no different. We have a whole bunch of teams going covert. Muzz is getting contested by Sobzy, and Muzz and Avery would love a top 5 here. They might be able to do it if they can win that 50-50 enough, but as you can see, a whole bunch of teams going covert. Most of the other teams aren't really 50-50. They're splitting the different parts of covert. We have Acorn and Edgy still deciding to go Tilted despite the blimp coming down. They are getting dropped on by Qual and Tabs G, but they might be splitting that north and south. Sprite and Nounsy are going to be contesting Greasy, and we don't have Rise and Threats. Threats and Rise have finally given up Greasy. They dropped on Kanata and Ages all season. They haven't been having the best of luck with it. They went back to Greasy last qualifier, even when Ages and Kanata weren't playing, or I believe it was the Cash Cup, but they've finally given it up. They are going to Kondo, where they're going to be going up against Blake and Lawrence. We have Squish and Nuts team going at it at Chonkers. We have Rocade and Joji unconned Rocky, which I think is almost a shoe-in for my top 5. We have Chimp and Spade at Coney. Remember, our 2nd place last season FNCS. So I think, honestly, Chimp and Spade might be an underrated pick to take out a top 5 here today as well. We have Pam Stu Fatch contesting Golden and Fabled Taco on the Kami split. We have Donnie and Macwood going up against Bucky and Cam. So we have Macwood and Bucky, ex-teammates, going toe-to-toe. So you know Bugle's gonna get spicy. Probably gonna have some words exchanged on the timeline. We'll see about that one. I think Knight and Rogue Shark out of Logjam could be a very underrated pick to take a top 5 here today as well. We have Playerfy and TK leaving the split they've been going all season, where Oliver, OG, Asian Jeff are going to go up against Iron Stars team. Playerfy and TK now choosing to drop Camp Cuddle instead, where AV and Eden will be trying to battle for a bit of that loot, but they should have most of Camp Cuddle to themselves. We of course have Day and Clicks uncontested at the Joneses, which has been a good formula for them. We'll see if they can get that top 5, which again, I think they will be a shoo-in for top 5 if they can get their second surge. That's their most important threshold. Do they get enough surge in the mid game? That is what's going to matter. We have Hoofishy and Kaz dropping the south side. Remember, Kaz has got to be one of the most underrated qualifiers when it comes to FNCS. I think now having only missed one FNCS grand final in the history of NAE. So interesting to see if they can pull off a top 5 here. We have Voil's team going up against Yuz at Synapse. D-Roller and N-Pen looking pretty at the Butter Barn. Remember, they get to buy their launch pads at Butter Barn, so that could be a really good formula for them as well. Nexi and Narwhal are going to be taking the Sunny Steps split, and there's some other big drops around there, but those are the ones I'm paying attention to. Now, let's move into some other news outside of FNCS. We have yet another gun being leaked that could be coming into the game next season. Yesterday, I talked about the insane new Primal shotgun. This is now a new burst rifle. So HypeX tweeted out, upcoming all rarity burst rifle, 5.5 fire rate, 2 times faster than the current scoped AUG, 3 to 3.6 second reload time, depends on the rarity, 33 bullets in the chamber, and fires 3 at once, 2 times faster than the scoped AUG. So we talked about that fire rate already. 18 damage common, 27 headshot, and 22 damage legendary, 33 headshot per bullet. So you could technically hit 3 headshots back to back, which will do 99 damage at legendary rarity, and it's going to shoot 2 times faster than the current scoped AUG. Again, like the Primal shotgun yesterday, this does sound like a concerning amount of damage output. When it comes to the burst rifle, it's going to really depend on how much it kicks, how much bullet spread there is. If it's coming in every rarity, it looks like it's not just going to be like a mythic version of a gun. It is going to be a normal weapon. It doesn't look like it has a scope on it, which I'm not too sad to see potentially the scope go. The scope the scoped burst rifle right now is just ridiculously strong at every rarity. It really is so easy to hit double dinks consistently. It's making surge really, really difficult for a lot of teams, and it just puts out so much pressure from third parties. It hasn't been my favorite AR in the meta. The main thing that I do like about it though is it has enabled, in at least the competitive scene, a lot of controller players to find it easy to get their long range surge, because long range aim assist has been quite weak for a while now. When you pick up a controller player on your team in duos, you know that you're gonna have to carry a fair share of the surge if you're taking long range tags. The burst rifle kind of helped that a lot, so seeing the scope go away and seeing this version of the gun could kind of bring back that issue, but it doesn't mean we're not going to have both. I'm just assuming we wouldn't have 2 versions of a burst rifle in the meta. It does concern me a little bit with how fast that fire rate is for bleeding shots through walls. If it's shooting 3 bullets and shooting them that quickly, I imagine especially in laggy lobbies, a lot of those bullets are going to go through walls. But again, like with all the weapons, we'll have to see it in the game to fully judge it. Next up, we have all but confirmed what our next Icon Series skin is. It's going to be Ali A. We had Ali A post this clip on his Twitter.
It's time to say goodbye. Don't worry, I won't be gone long. I never thought this would happen, but I'm so excited, so nervous. When I return, I'll look different. You'll see what I mean tomorrow. But for now, goodbye. I'll see you all in 24 hours.
They're not really trying to make it a secret. Obviously, it's the skin saying goodbye, and when he comes back, he's going to look different. He's going to have his own Icon Series skin. It is also saying there is a map where you can go in and try and see the skin early, which would be cool. I don't know if there's going to be a tournament about this or if there's going to be anything else, but I guess we'll know tomorrow when the skin goes live. I'll talk about it if there is a tournament, but it's really cool to see another person getting an Icon Series skin. There's obviously some very, very deserving people out there who still need them, so I'm happy they're giving more out. Ali A, Cypher PK, Typical Gamer, Nick A30. There's so many big names that come to mind. I'm happy Ali A is making his way onto that list. I'm not really sure what the emote's going to be. We're talking about it today in stream. I would love maybe some kind of a Diplodocus reference, or maybe like just a super slow 360. I don't know. There's a lot of Ali A memes out there. I guess we'll have to see. All right, guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.